Today's Sunday, May the 29th, 4 o'clock on the East Coast on Memorial Day weekend. We have got a few apples on our apple tree, and we have had a deluge rain system, this low pressure system, coming up the coast. Rain here for about 2 hours. Anyway, about 2 hours ago, I fertilized all these rows and plowed them and turned them under. That'll get that working. Our onions are doing pretty good. We got standing water. It poured. I mean, like just 2 hours of pour. Our onions are just starting to bulb up. And their little trapezoid bed's coming along pretty good. Dahlias are coming up. That's our clematis that we dug up from our yard a couple years ago. It was tiny. Been sitting there, hardly staying alive for years. And look at it now. 2 years later. Cannas are going to come up and fill in. Our calla lilies look like all of them made it. And that is a nice set of hostas. They've been in there 5 or 6 years now, and we grew those from seed. It is very rare to have water go through that little pipe. That's why it's such a small pipe. But it rains so much, and you see it still coming around the corner. You know, maybe once every 2 years you'll see water in this ditch. Got a lot of blueberries. They're all set. And all our daylilies have been here for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, never divided. They're all getting ready to pop open. With a little bit of sunlight and a little warm weather, this rhododendron will open up. It made it through the winter. There's a couple of them that are open. Well, it's 3:30 here on the East Coast on Wednesday, June the 1st. And I see that one has gotten a top busted off. That one has had the top busted off. I've raised it up a brick level because they were compressing against the top. I've rinsed out those trash cans to carry them down to the river tomorrow. And they seem to have perked up a little bit. We haven't had much sunshine. And we broke a record set in 1872 for the most rainfall in May. So it wasn't my imagination. My day is coming along. I need to get in there and weed them. We'll go in here. Here are the dahlia cuttings. One of them showed a root coming out at the bottom. Yeah, see that one? And there's a root down on the bottom one, see it? The azaleas aren't looking as well, and I would be surprised to see a root this early. They got a little too wet. They've had the cover off. That one got a little dark spot on it, which isn't a big deal. But this is showing new growth. And that's actually showing some new growth. We got a lot of plants and time to do with it. We had a slug in here eating on this thing. You have to come out late in the evening when he comes out and find him and get rid of him. We got way too many plants. And there are caladiums for down at the pond garden. And as I was telling you, see, if you'd mixed them up and didn't know what colors they were, because see, in this bag there was some white ones. That's a different color one. You see, those are different. So we can just scoop these out with a small trowel after we dig a hole and put them in the ground. And there's multicolors there. And these are 2-year-old calla lilies. Someone was asking about them. You can tell their size. These are 2-year-old. That's non-variegated. That's variegated. These are 3 years old that I've potted up in a bigger pot, and there's some still in that 9-pack, which is the best tray on earth to plant things in. And then we've got a few here. And this is a calla lily, and it hadn't come up yet, and I haven't plunged into it. I don't know what that is coming up, but it sure isn't a calla lily, but they generally, when they die back in the fall, it just goes right on back down in the hole, and the little rhizome tubers way down near the bottom, and then If it's undisturbed, the next year when it gets warm, it sends a shoot right up through the hole that the old stem was in. You can see the tops of those green trees back there. They're cedar trees, and apple trees and cedar trees don't get along, and apple trees get a cedar rust off of cedar trees, and usually it's not every year, and usually it's not really hard, but that cedar rust, it's come because those cedar trees are in close proximity to these leaves, and it's all over it. It's not going to kill it, but it's not helping it. We do have some apples. There's some clusters up there. This tree is almost in balance. I really do need to knock some of the tops out of those just to keep all the growth down at the bottom. Haven't had time. It is a pretty day. It's over 90, and we have some nice blue sky up here today. And take you back here and show you what this black muscadine grape that we cut. I told you before, we cut some trees down over there, so it lets in more light. This is an apple tree that very rarely produces much. We have some apples on it, the few that come on it the squirrels get, but look at the grapes on this thing. We didn't even realize it because we were gone so much during the summer, and we came home last year and this little deck walkway had just black grapes all over it. And so this grapevine is using this apple tree as its arbor, but it is absolutely loaded with muscadine grapes. I still would like to get a cutting off of it. But you definitely shading out this tree. But this thing has just gotten huge. You can see all the new growth from this year. Eventually I weighed it down and collapsed the tree. That little peach tree there has none on it. That pear tree over there has none on it. This apple tree has some on it. That peach tree over there, as far as we can tell, there's one peach left on it from the frost. There's a grapevine that made it through the winter. Some of these don't look like they're going to survive to me, but there's numerous clusters on here, but most of them don't look too healthy. That's what a healthy cluster looks like. See how that is undersized, deformed, and a little brown tinted. And this one over here actually had a thing of grapes on it. I doubt very seriously if they'll make it. I've been cutting all the growth off that comes up from the bottom. And when they're young like that, you can just flip them off with your finger. See, it's got more energy in the roots than it can use. So it's sending up all these new shoots trying to stay alive. And it's just going to have to send it up from up here.